So today we'll be talking about the impact of social media on our brains and mental health. Yes, it's something that is very dear to my heart because I'm dealing with a lot of patients, and I also had to struggle through this and learn my balance. And I think the Lord wants us to overcome. I believe the Lord has prepared everything for us to be able to handle this temptation. So I will just share a few things. And hopefully by the end of this, we'll all make the decision to do what is right for us and for our brains. We are almost there with the slides. Too bad it didn't save. Huh? Yeah, we already set it up and we thought it was saved. So is it on? Yes. All right. So I don't think I have to tell you what this is. These are some of the names. Yeah, I don't know all of them, I have to say. I only know mainly, I use Facebook, YouTube, So now what is a social media addiction? The question. So it's a type of behavioral addiction where people feel compelled to use social media even when it disrupts important areas of life, such as relationship, school, work, physical health. So this is a really sad statistic. So in average, a teenager spends, an American teenager, but this is worldwide right now. It's not just here, but we're focusing right now in America, is 4 hours a day spent on social media platforms, which I would say this equals lost time. 4 hours and almost 5 hours a day of lost time. So now, is this good or bad? Let's see. What happens actually when we're using media? So social media addiction can actually affect the very structure of our brains. Now, if you remember back a few months ago when I did a series on the brain health, when I asked the question, if you want to conquer something, where would you attack? You want to attack the brain, like the lighthouse or something, where the control center is, right? So brain is our control center. So Satan is trying his best, because the time is short, to attack our brains as heavily as possible, and we are invaded with a lot of things. So it just shows that right now it's even creating changes in our brain structure. So this is very serious. Now imagine if you have the part of the brain that needs to be active is actually shrinking, like the amygdala. So it's the part of the brain that processes the emotions. Now, what does that lead us to? Very impulsive behaviors. Probably you have never seen people getting angry, right? Everyone is so calm and chilled. Just try, even at the stoplight, try not to speed right away when the green light comes, because you'll get honks from the back. It's like we live in this type of world. Guess why? So another situation is, so these brain changes are similar to what happens with other addictions, which is very serious. So it's on the same level with drug and alcohol addiction. So it's the dopamine is affected. We'll talk about what that means. So in men with internet addiction, and I don't think it's just men, but this study kind of focused on that, the brain releases more dopamine, but the number of dopamine receptors are reduced. So what does that mean? So when you have too much dopamine with fewer receptors, that can lead to issues like can't control yourself, right? And increases aggression, and because the brain is not able to use all the excessive dopamine that's produced. So this leads to a lot of mental health issues, a lot of imbalances, a lot of addictive behaviors. So now you can understand why we act the way we act sometimes. Now, why is dopamine important? Because it acts as a neurotransmitter that helps transmit signals in the brain, playing a key role in motivation, pleasure, reward, and various other activities, and mood regulation, which is very also important. Now, it is essential for learning, attention, reinforcing behaviors that are very, very important for survival. So, as we see, it's very critical, the situation. Now, aside from the anatomical and biochemical brain changes, it's interesting to note that the app developers also, they design it in such a way that makes you want to go back to all this, want more. Like when you scroll through it, what do you want to do? You want to see more and more and more, give likes. And if you don't get likes to your post, your mood is affected. And it's quite interesting to see the changes that happen in us. Now, the next step. So another very concerning situation is that cyberbullying and sexual predators, predators? Predators, thank you. So cyberbullying is a serious global problem that happens when someone uses technology to hurt, embarrass, or even cause pain to another person. So about 1 in 4 teens have experienced it. Cyberbullying has been associated with a lot of mental health, like depression, suicide, anxiety, aggression, ADHD, and you name it. It's pretty much affected by it. Now, another serious danger is that it can affect even children. So it was interesting to read about this executive, an executive from a tech company called Bark. By the way, Bark, I think they create programs to help parents monitor their children exposure online. So he went undercover. He was pretending to be, like an 11-year-old girl, kind of like who's 11? Well, Samari and Melanie, they are around they are 10, right? So girls like them. So he went undercover, he pretended to be girls, and guess what? In just 2.5 hours of posting whatever he did, he got a lot, like dozens of calls, and I took out the part that it says actually what kind of inappropriate messages. There were pictures which you don't want your 10, 11-year-old to see of men. So this is very disturbing. It's very disturbing. And sometimes parents don't realize, they think that when the kids get the phone, they just play. No, that can be very serious thing. So parents, be aware. You gotta really take action. Now, another problem with this addiction is that you have that fear of missing out. They even have FOMO. So it's the worry that other people are having a lot of fun and you're missing out on it, right? So this kind of makes you want to constantly be there connected to see, okay, what am I missing out there? What's there that I need to see it? So this has been linked to feelings of anxiety, depression, and stress. Now, if you test yourself. If you feel uneasy when you can't check your social media, you might experience that fear of missing out. So a good way to fight this is to shift your mind towards joy of missing out, enjoying the peace that comes from always being online. One helpful step is to plan and structure your time so you can focus on what matters to you. Be in control of your time. Now, how we can do that? By scheduling times that you can access your social media. You become free to experience real life. So it's not social media controlling you, you are controlling that. Set a time. Now, think of those almost 5 hours a day, how you could use them for your growth. So we can do a lot of other things. Just keep in mind, you can have control over your time if you want to. Now, when we begin to understand the detrimental effects that social media can have on our brains and mental health, we may begin to wonder, what can I do about this? So social media addiction can be a very difficult habit to kick. It may be helpful, again, to budget your time by creating a daily goal-oriented schedule with limited amount of time. Now, it says ideally an hour, but if you really struggle bad, probably you may need a complete fast. And again, it says if you need to be on your device for work, some of us have to constantly be on the device, work, school, or other projects, so we are constantly online. Now, if we can't still seem to stay away from the social media, even with boundaries, it's recommended to have a social fast for about 6 weeks. We need a good detox. So get all these apps deleted and do something out there so you can feel refreshed. Or even ask a friend to join you in your journey to live free and get somebody to hold you accountable for this, because this is a real fight, and then you'll realize how your brain will shape in a different direction, will make you happier, and you can enjoy life much, much more than we do if we are constantly hooked to social media. May the Lord really help us to think seriously and to help one another. Amen.